All right. Can everyone hear me very well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
So, I would like to welcome us to this LARAVEL / YII meetup. My name is Antonia. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a backend developer currently working here in Bincom Dev Center. So today's meetup, we'll be talking about using Composer and dependency management for PHP project setup. Using Composer and dependency management for PHP project setup. All right. And I'll be guiding us through the world of Composer and how it can streamline our, our PHP development workflow. Now, some of the contents will be shedding more light on this afternoon. Introduction to Composer, the reason why dependency management matters, how we can set up our PHP project with Composer, how to add and manage dependencies, understanding version constraints, and so on and so forth. Yeah, our time is fast spent. I wouldn't want to bore us because I believe this session is supposed to end by 5. So I'll just talk us through what today's topic is all, what today's meetup is all about, what Composer is all about. I will try to break it down as simple as possible so that we can have like better understanding of what is all about. All right, Composer. What is Composer? Composer, in simple terms, is a tool that helps you manage dependencies for your PHP projects. He allows you to declare dependencies your project needs, and he installs and manages them for you. All right. Composer plays like a vital role in PHP development because it helps simplify project management. It helps manage your project efficiently. It helps streamline workflows for developers. It ensures that you have all the necessary libraries that are included. And it doesn't just ensure you have this, it makes sure that they stay up to date. All right. In when you're trying to explain Composer to a layman, someone that is new to the world of technology, Composer is just like a library assistant that makes sure you have like the right the right book for your study in the correct versions. Let me just put it in a layman language like that. Is like a library assistant, that makes sure that you have like the right book for the right book to study in the correct version. All right. So we've explained what Composer is. It plays a very vital and important role in PHP development. It makes us carry out um our projects seamlessly, effortlessly. Now, let's explore how Composer can transform our projects. Now, dependency management. Why does dependency management matters? Why does it matter? Dependency management is very important in software development for several reasons. The reasons are, are countless. They are numerous. All right. So, but why do you think we need this dependency management in the first place? Well, as PHP developers, all right, we often we rely on third-party libraries and packages to build our applications. Correct. Okay, so these libraries, they can have their own dependencies, and managing them manually can become a nightmare, trust me. Since as PHP developers, we often rely on third parties, libraries, third-party packages to build our applications. Now, these libraries have their own dependencies, and obviously we can't even manage. If we say we want to manage everything manually, it becomes a nightmare. Before we know it, we start getting frustrated, we start getting worn out, stressed out. But this is where dependency management comes in because it helps us avoid version conflict between different libraries. It updates our dependencies to ensure that we have the latest security patches and features. I'm sure we wouldn't want a situation whereby our projects will be vulnerable. All right. When a software or when our application is not up to date, it gives room for malware attacks. There's a reason why we update our software and some of our packages. Now, the main reason why we update these things, when an app is being released, or sometimes we notice that some of the applications on our phone, there is a need to update them. Why is that? Because the previous version is already outdated. now is more prone to malware attack. So imagine having a dependency management that helps you. It's just like working behind the scenes that makes sure that you have the necessary security patches you need for your projects. So that is the way dependency management works. It helps you, it helps you update your dependencies. It simplifies the process of setting up a new project or even deploying an existing one. All right. So it enhances our code reliability. It makes sure that all our components they work together perfectly. And it also improves project scalability in the sense that it makes it easier to add new features without breaking our already existing code. All right. Then it also reduces conflicts. Helps avoid version clashes between libraries. All right. So is the key effective dependency management is key to successful software projects. The importance can be overemphasized. All right. So how do we set up our projects with Composer? Now, setting up a PHP project with Composer, now that we've covered like most of the basics, so we'll be diving into how we set up our PHP project with Composer. Okay. Now, before we can set up our PHP project with the Composer, we have to make sure we install Composer on our machine by following the instruction on the official Composer website. We have the official Composer website. All right. We can go through it. There's guidance, there's step guidance on how we can install this Composer on our PC, on our system or monitor, whatever we are using. Now, after installing this Composer, we create a new directory for our projects, and we can navigate to this directory using I'm using this word because I believe most of us here we are in the field of technology, and some of these terms are not, we are very familiar with them. All right. So after installing Composer, we create a new directory for our projects, and we navigate into it using terminal or command prompts on our system. All right. So we run the command Composer init to create a new composer.json file. Now, this file will contain the information about our project, all right, including its dependencies. I mentioned earlier, we install Composer on our machine by following the instructions on the official Composer website. Then also we create a new project directory for our project and navigate into it using terminal or command prompt. All right. Also, we run the command composer init to create a new composer.json file. Now, this file will contain information about your project, including its dependencies. Okay. So moving on, now after doing this, we follow the prompt to fill in the required information, such as the name of our project, the description, and the author. All right. So we install Composer, we initialize a new project, and we make sure we configure the project. Now, when we're configuring the project, we make sure that these projects have details like the name, the description, and the dependencies. Now, this simple setup lays the foundation for our PHP projects. Are we together, please? Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much, Kairat. Okay, so moving on, adding and managing dependencies. Now, once we have our projects set up, all right, we can start adding dependencies, all right? So we use the command composer require to, these are like basic programming language, these are like basic English. We use the command composer require to add libraries. We use composer automatically updates our composer.json and composer files. All right. So how do we manage updates? We want to update our composer. We use the command composer update to update all dependencies to their latest versions. All right. Now, if we want to remove unused dependencies, we use the command composer remove. And composer make it easy to keep our projects organized and up to date. It makes our work stress-free. Let me just put it that way. It makes it stress-free and itch-free. All right. Now, there are different types of version constraints when it comes to Composer. Now, when specifying dependencies in your Composer, yeah, When specifying dependency of composer file, you can use version constraints to control which version of a package are installed. And some of these common versions are the 1.00, there is one of 1.2.3, it specifies the version should be at least 1.2, but less than 2, all right? So like vice versa that way. We have the one within the range of 1.0 less than 2.0. This allows updates within a specified range, all right? So we have the stability flags that control the stability of the packages you install. Version constraints help maintain compatibility and stability in your PHP project. It helps install the specific version and also allows updates within a specified range. Composer autoloading capabilities. What does composer autoloading capability mean? What do we mean by that? One of the most powerful feature of composer is autoloading capabilities. Autoloading allows you to, it allows you to use classes and namespaces in your projects without having to manually include the corresponding files. All right. So that is to show you how powerful the autoloading capability is. Autoloading tips, it simply allows you to use classes and namespaces in your project without having to manually include the corresponding files. So Composer automatically generates an autoload file, all right? You use require vendors / backup / autoloaders to include all classes from your dependencies. Now, so just keep your project structure clean and open. The benefits of autoloading, it keeps your project structure clean and organized. It reduces the need for manual require or include statements. With Composer autoloading, managing classes becomes a breeze. Okay, so moving on. So there are some real world examples and best practices to keep in mind when using Composer. All right. So using meaningful package names and descriptions makes our projects easy. Makes it easy for your, it even makes it easier for your project dependencies. Use meaningful package names. Keep your dependencies up to date as well by regularly running Composer updates. Please let's keep that in mind. We cannot overemphasize the use of the need for updates. It is very, very important. So we just keep your dependencies up to date by regularly running the Composer updates. All right. Use version constraints to control which versions of a package are installed. All right. We can use our version constraints that I explained earlier to control the version of a package installed. Okay, and we should take advantage. We should always take advantage of Composer autoloading capabilities because it helps simplify our project's namespace and class loading. Let's not forget to take advantage of our Composer autoloading capabilities. We should always use version constraints to control which versions of a package are installed. And we should make sure that we should keep our dependencies up to date by regularly running the Composer updates. All right. So many popular PHP frameworks like LARAVEL rely on Composer for dependency management. Projects benefit from a vast ecosystem of libraries available through packages, all right? So let's just ensure to put these best practices in place, regularly update our dependencies, use version constraints to ensure compatibility, and also always keep our file organized and documented, all right? Implementing these practices will enhance our PHP development experience. It will even make it better. It will make it like more nice. All right. So some of the key takeaways, or some of the things that I want us to have in mind or just hold on our left hand is the fact that Composer is a very powerful tool, all right, and it helps simplify our PHP development workflow by managing our dependencies, by by understanding how to use Composer effectively. You can save time, you can reduce your stress, you can reduce error, and you can even focus on building amazing PHP applications. All right. as a PHP developer, you work hand in hand with Composer. You can't just neglect the need for Composer. It is very important. It is proud to our PHP projects. All right. So Composer simplifies dependency management in PHP projects, and setting up this project is very straightforward with Composer. Now, understanding version constraints is also essential for stability. And I mentioned earlier the autoloading capability streamline, all right? So let's not forget that Composer is a very powerful ally in modern PHP development. Okay, thank you. Now, I think we've come to the end. Okay, the conclusion. So there are some resources for further learning about Composer. In case you want to check it out, we have the official Composer documentation. I will drop the link in the chat box, which is the getcomposer.org. We have several PHP community forums and tutorials. We also have online courses on PHP development and Composer, where you can dive deeper into Composer and enhance your PHP projects today. All right. So I'll be dropping the link to the official Composer documentation in the chat box very soon. All right. So for further understanding, we can check it out. All right. So, and for further learning as well, you can also you can check out the official Composer documentation, which I've dropped. It provides in-depth guides. All these ones that I just explained now, it might look kind of confusing, but when you visit the documentation, when I drop the link and you visit the site, you have in-depth understanding, guidance, and tutorials on how to use Composer. And you can also explore. There are different resources you can explore. There are different resources you can explore concerning Composer, such as we have the Composer's official GitHub repository. All right. We have the packages, the main Composer package repository. So there are different resources online that can help us understand what Composer is all about. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be dropping my LinkedIn here in the chat box. All right. So just okay. So that was not meant to happen. Well, thank you, everybody. I'll be dropping the link to my LinkedIn profile on the chat box. So let's try and take note of our questions so I can give room for the second speaker to come in. Then after the whole presentation and discussion, we can chip in our questions. But let's note down our questions so that we can move at a very fast rate. All right. Thank you so much for having me. Then I would like to hand over to Irat.
All right, thank you very much, Antonia. I really appreciate that. That's so interesting of you. So, Mr. Stephen, so we'd like to hand over to our second speaker, which is our Mr. Stephen Jude. Mr. Stephen Jude, welcome to our LARAVEL MEETUP. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Irat. Can you hear me clearly? You can hear, I believe you can hear me, right? Can any other person hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Let me try and share my screen and we can take it from there. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys can see my screen. Hello.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
All right. Yeah, so special thank you, Irat, for this call, for having me on this community meetup. Also a big thanks to our first speaker for doing justice to Composer. So I'm going to be talking about building PHP packages with Composer. building PHP packages with Composer. My name is Stephen Jude, and I'm the co-founder and CTO at Pay For Me app. I'm also a very active open source contributor. I build PHP packages, I build LARAVEL packages. Sorry about that. And I build filament packages. So the way to see it is Laravel is a PHP framework. Filament is a Laravel admin panel. So just to give a context to the whole thing. So let's talk about Composer. So what is Composer? Composer is a dependency manager. I think our first speaker has said that. It allows you to declare your dependencies. What are the dependencies that you want in your project? It allows you to install these dependencies at once. And it also allows you to update these dependencies at once. I think to give context to why Composer is important and the job of Composer is that prior to Composer in the PHP community, if you are trying to add another code to your project, or if you are trying to build a project that you want to be able to add other libraries to it, you have to copy those libraries to your code. Like you have to copy to your code. When it's time to update it, you have to manually replace those files. Like everything has to be manually done, right? So Composer is the automation that came in. So it allows you to specify what are the components of this, the components that you want to be part of your project. What are the versions of those components that you want? Literally, you could automate the whole process of adding pre-built PHP packages into your code. So what are PHP packages? So PHP packages are codes that add specific features to your project. So any code, like for example, most of us use Excel and CSV packages. These packages gives us the ability to manipulate Excel files, import them, export them, play around with them the way we want. So these are packages. Packages are codes that have been written. They are written to add specific features. They are written to do specific tasks, right? Some people, like currently now, you could actually do what's this new technology that came to macOS? I think is they call it, is it keychain, or in a way that you could sign in with your MacBook. So the way you sign in with your MacBook biometrics, you don't actually have to have biometrics set up. You just sign in with your biometrics, but not actually interacting with the hardware. So there's a package that does it, that does this. And how do you know a PHP package? That it can easily be installed in PHP projects, and it can also be installed in other PHP packages. So packages can be installed in a project, packages can be installed in another package. So PHP is in Composer. Packagist is the repository where you can find PHP libraries. So it's more like the packages is that there's other ones, right? People are even doing it privately by themselves for their company. But the work of packages is that it collects all the publicly available PHP packages that have the ability to be installed via Composer. So as a developer, if you have a Composer project, if you have a package that you want to reuse in another project, right, you can put it on packages and it will be accessible for you to be installed on other projects. But the point is, remember the keyword publicly available. That's what packages is for. It's for publicly available PHP packages. That's what it allows you to do. So I'm going to give just like an overview of what happens with Composer, with PHP packages, and with Packagist. So I'm going to talk about setting up a project with Composer, and also I'm going to be talking about setting up a PHP package. So this is how you set up a Composer project. First of all, you need to install Composer locally on your system. And the first way to do that is to go to the composer, getcomposer.com, and then you follow the instruction. Now, there's a caveat, right? You don't actually have to do that. A lot of these things have been outsourced, and some of them include, we know about LARAVEL Head. LARAVEL Head is one of the latest, can call it a development suite that LARAVEL developed with Beyond Code joined together. They developed it that it comes with, when you install it, it installs PHP on your system, it installs Composer on your system, it installs all the things you need to set up a PHP or a Laravel application. That's what it does. Then, while I was on Windows, I know of this application, Laragon. Laragon is also like WAMP. I know most of us have heard of WAMP. If you haven't, WAMP is also a local development environment or a local development server that installs all the things, NGX, MySQL database, all those things that you need to run your application. They come with this application. So if you're on Windows, go for Laragon. I know that Head is also on Windows. Laravel Head is also on Windows. But if you're on Mac OS, I think Head is your best choice. You can also decide to do Valet, and then there is also PHP Monitor, which is another product that allows you to set up Composer, PHP, and all these things on your system automatically. Now, when you have installed Composer, the next thing you do is to make sure that you create a Composer file, right? I think our first speaker spoke about that. You run Composer init. But if you don't want to run Composer init, you could manually create a composer.json file at the root directory of your project. And then you can now start specifying, like I just showed on that screenshot, you can now start specifying the packages and the version of those packages you want to be installed. When you have specified all those packages, the next thing to do is for you to run Composer install. So when you run Composer install, Composer is going to go to package list, find those packages by the name that you specified, find the version that you're looking for, and install it for your project. And that is it. You already have a Composer. So if you go to a typical Laravel application, you will definitely see composer.json. When you go into that composer.json, you will see all the packages that are dependencies that Laravel application runs on. So just for your own experiments and for your own curiosity, just go to composer.json in any project, in any PHP project you will see all the dependencies that are required for that project to run correctly. So that is that about setting up a Composer project. Now, how do you publish a package? How do you publish a PHP package? Now, it's the same as when you are publishing, when you are creating a Composer project. The only difference now is that in your composer.json file, you have to put a description because packages have to pay attention to the description of the file so they can tell the people using your application what your package is doing. And also you have to put the name of your package, which is what will be used as an identifier. This is what people are going to be calling and doing require with so that they can pull your particular package. Now, Composer has another command called Composer validate. So with Composer validate, you can check the validity of your composer.json file. So if there is an error, it will tell you. If there is anything that is not consistent with the project setup, it will tell you. Now, the next thing is also, the next thing I want to touch about publishing packages. This talk is not enough, like the time is not enough for me to explain in detail all that is around publishing a package. But when you are creating a package, one of the first things you have to define is what is the minimum PHP version that is required for your package. And also you can now start adding all the required dependencies, the required packages, other packages that you want to incorporate into your own package. So now when you have done all this, you have validated your Composer JSON file. The next thing you do is to commit your JSON file to Git or any other version control system that you use. Most of us are on GitHub, so GitHub is Git. So I think that's what by default, what most of us are going to be using to publish our packages. So make sure you commit your code and then you push it. Now, when you have done that, you've pushed it to a GitHub repository. You can copy the URL of your GitHub repository, and then go to packages.org, and then you can now submit your package. And as soon as you successfully, you have to create account to do this. You have to create account, and then you have to connect your GitHub account to it too. And then you can now connect, you can now, I don't think you necessarily need to connect your GitHub account for you to do it, but most time it will ask you to use your GitHub account to create your account there. So you are supposed to submit, you see a submit button on that website. I've published over at least 15, if not, I think it should be up to 15 packages as of now. So I use it a lot, packages.org. You go there, it's very simple. You click on submit, it shows you, it asks you for the URL, the GitHub URL of the package you want to publish. After you have already done all the composer setup in that package, you do that. Now I want to say something. While you could actually set up your own composer, the JSON file for your package, there are a lot of skeletal templates that are out there that you could use to build PHP package. I know I used Party to publish. I use Party Laravel skeleton to publish Laravel packages. I use Party PHP skeleton to publish. If you go to sparty.com, Sparty on GitHub, that's GitHub/Sparty, and then you will see what I'm talking about. I use Party PHP skeleton to publish PHP packages. I use Party Laravel skeleton to publish Laravel skeleton. I use a filament skeleton to publish filament plugins. Like, these are predefined plugins that already have all this composer setup added in them with more code even. So instead of you coming to do all this from the beginning, you don't have to do that. Of what we are doing today is for you to understand how it actually works, so that you understand what is going on and you can know how to troubleshoot and look into issues when they come up. And then also for private repository, there's some code that you don't want people to, you don't want to share. Maybe it's a business logic, maybe
Hello, since Mr. Steven is having network issue. Okay, he's back.
hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, but where did I stop? Harriet, do you remember where I stopped? Or what I was talking about before I disconnected? Has it been up to 10 to 15 minutes since I disconnected? I think I'm disconnecting again. Okay. I don't know what else to do.
No, it's not be up to 10 to 15 minutes. I think it's just like roughly 3-4 minutes.
Okay. So I should still be talking about publishing PHP package. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, publishing packages.
All right. So like I think what I remember was saying was that you don't actually have to create your own composer.json file right from scratch. You can actually pull some skeletal work that is already out there. Sparty, I don't know, most of us, man, if you're a Laravel developer, definitely you must have used one or two Sparty packages. Sparty has a package for both PHP and for Laravel packages if you want to publish any of these kind of packages. Then also filament. So I don't know any of if you guys know about filament PHP, but is a filament PHP is an alternative to Laravel Nova. Is an admin panel. So it also has a way you could create plugins for it. So if you are developing a plugin for filament PHP, you actually don't need to start afresh. There's also a skeletal work out there that you could use. You could always send me a message on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and then I could put you through to some of these resources. I think the last thing I want to mention is that you can publish your package on your public package. So public package is a package that is on probably a GitHub repository or a GitLab repository. But the point is that repository has to be open. So more like an open source project. So that repository has to be open, like it has to be openly accessible to the public. That's the only package you can publish on Packagist. And if you want to publish a private package, a private repository, a repository that is not accessible to the public, maybe it's an internal code, is a code that's supposed to be within the company, but you people want to reuse that code, maybe in another project of the company. So you go to packages.com for a private repository, and I think that one is also paid. So you just need to weigh your options there. I think there is also a way for you to pull private repository with GitHub. But then it requires a lot of configuration, which, to be sincere, is stressful to some extent. It takes time, takes a lot of figuring out, but it's possible. That's the point. So if you think you can do that, that was also nice. I think that's all I have for today, except I think it's time to start taking questions. So thank you for listening, and I'm sorry for the network interruption.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. Nice having you here. Really appreciate you for taking out of your time to be part of us here. Thank you very much. So before the time for question and answers, I would like to share my screen once again and talk about the services we offered in Bincom Dev Center. So give me a few minutes. Let me share my screen. Yes, like I said the other time, please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right, thank you very much. Like I said before, that we have our locations in different parts of the Nigerian, the Lagos State, Ibadan, Lagos, Ibadan, Oyo State, Kano State, Kaduna State, Ijebu-Igbo, Ogun State, Warri Delta State, and also in United Kingdom. And I say we focus more on focus on three pillars, which is building tech talent, enhancing tech talent, and building startup. Under these three key pillars, we have different services on it. So I would like to talk more about the services. So one of the services there is Bincom Academy. So Bincom Academy utilizes the Montessori approach in training particular participants in basic skills needed for the modern technology ecosystem. Also, we have a Bincom Tech Internship. It is designed to enable people at intermediate skill level to gain mastery and expertise over a period of time. We also have our Bincom Tech Apprenticeship. which is industrial attachment at various skills level to gain experience on tech job training. We have our Bincom Tech Network, which include the community events and projects, just like what we are having here, and it is geared at giving back to community and building the tech ecosystem. They focus on informing and exposing the youth to the current technology trends and how to prepare them for future in technology. We also have our light space, that is created and designed for various events, such like seminars, conferences, and get-together. Also, we have our Bincom Global Tech Program, which is a solution to launch your tech career globally. It is a 1 to 2 2-year skills, gain experience, and gain exposure. We also have our Emigrate Tech Visa, which helps you become globally attractive, tech profile or tech-enabled business. And it is your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement in countries like UK, USA, France, and many more. We also have our Bincom Mentoring Platform. It is structured monitoring solution to help mentors add values to mentees for the purpose of building globally attractive techies. Also, before the last one, we have our Labs by Bincom. It is a 3 to 6 month incubator program that brings together participants to build digital technology products, which would be used by real life users. Also, we have our Bincom Tech Career Coaching, which helps you to land the next role faster by offering a combination of coaching relevant on the job experience, career referencing, introduction to tech recruiters, and holding through application and interview process, and much more. Yeah, so I'll be dropping some of the links for these services in the chat box, and also I'll be dropping our feedback back. Hello, can anyone still hear me? Hello?
You are breaking, but we can hear you. You're breaking.
Okay. So before we can now move to the question and answer section. So I would like you to ask your question. So any of the speakers can give an answer to the question. Yeah, thank you.